Good afternoon. My name is Christina Steen. I'm the Unemployment Insurance Interim UI Division Administrator. I am going to go over some information about COVID-19 and unemployment insurance benefits for employers. So we wanted to get information out to everyone during this time because unemployment might not be something that your company has experienced before. So we wanted to make sure that people are aware of the general overview of what unemployment insurance is and some of the exceptions and waivers that we're offering for claims that are filed as a result of COVID-19. So our agency, Iowa Workforce Development, is working diligently to serve all customers, all claimants, help employers through this process. We do have a higher influx of claims coming in and customer service calls, but we have a really great group of people on our customer service team and staff to assist employers and claimants during this time. So some of the information I'm going to go over, here's a high-level overview, is just going over what unemployment insurance is. Like I mentioned, many employers may not have experienced unemployment insurance before, so we'll have a high-level overview of that. Also, we'll go over who is eligible and for how much, a general idea of how much people would be eligible for. Some of the effects of COVID-19 on Iowa and our Iowans. Also charges, whether or not an employer will be charged for benefits, and then just some additional resources that are available on our website to where you can look to see additional information as things move on. So the unemployment insurance is, the intent of that program is to pay benefits to eligible claimants during periods of unemployment when suitable work is not available. Also, unemployment insurance is a tax paid entirely by employers who are covered by the Iowa Employment Security Law, Iowa Employment Security Law. So who is actually eligible? So these are the requirements for eligibility in a normal scenario, normal circumstances. So I wanted to point out these details first. So unemployment insurance is not based on need. It provides temporary benefits if a worker is unemployed or working reduced hours through no fault of their own, their ability to work and available for work, so they're able to work and available for work, and then actively looking for work unless that requirement is waived. So those are the general requirements in normal circumstances for someone to be eligible for unemployment insurance. In a little bit, I'll go over the changes and the waivers that we are providing at this current time due to COVID-19, but those are the general items. So how much is my employee eligible for? You might be getting this question from your employee, or you're just wondering yourself how much they would potentially be eligible for so you can make some business decisions. The minimum weekly benefit amount is $87, and the maximum weekly benefit amount is $591. So $87 to $591. The maximum benefit amount is dependent on filing 4 dependents that the worker has, like either a child, a dependent adult, a spouse that's not working, things like that. That's how you would get the maximum benefit amount. The weekly payment depends on the wages your employee was paid during prior quarters of the year and the number of dependents they have. So that is a very, very high level overview of how much someone would potentially be eligible for. The duration of a claim, so how many weeks they could potentially be eligible for, the maximum amount would be 26 weeks. But if someone's working partial benefits or partial or part-time, they can claim, or they will have to report the wages that they're earning, but they can be paid a partial benefit, and that would actually extend their claim longer than 26 weeks. We're really hopeful for any claims that are filed as a result of COVID-19 that they would not need to file that long. Hopefully that's a short duration of maybe a little over a month or less than a month or something like that, but just to give you an idea that it is there for longer. So reduction in hours or layoffs due to COVID-19. So this is one of the main reasons why I wanted to have this webinar, to go over that information, to give employers a little bit more information to understand the circumstances that are going on right now and what we're there for. So Iowa Workforce Development encourages employers to provide paid leave to employees unable to work as a result of COVID-19. So we have put into place, an employer should and must pay employees paid leave, so any sort of PTO. It's different with each type of employer, PTO, vacation, sick leave, any of those things to employees prior to them filing for unemployment insurance. There's an array of reasons why that is a much better option for your employees. The money that we would be paying them on unemployment insurance is going to be much less, in most circumstances, half of what they're normally receiving. So the amount is much less. Also, if people are on an extended time frame where they're not working, any sort of insurance benefits and those types of things, that employee will most likely, depending on the employer, have to pay that money out of pocket, so putting them in a very difficult situation. So again, employees should pay out or utilize all paid leave prior to filing for unemployment insurance. One additional program that's available that we are sharing and employers can take advantage of, if they don't want to do any sort of layoffs for their staff, they can take advantage of the voluntary shared work program. So it's used as an alternative to layoffs. Employers would maybe if they have a reduction in work, they can actually share the hours between employees, and then they would receive a partial payment from unemployment or of unemployment from us. So they would let's say they work 32 hours, and then the 8 hours we would make up the difference. So that's a very good program to keep people employed, maintain productivity for the business, and it's a really great option and program that Iowa Workforce Development offers. So there is additional information on that. I just gave you a short overview of what that is, but on our website, iowaworkforcedevelopment.gov, I put the actual link on the screen here. You can find out additional information online. If you go on our website, there's a very detailed Q&A section and details about that program. If you do decide to apply, there are instructions on where you would send in your application and all the details that you would need to know. So I mentioned earlier that we'd be talking about some exceptions and waivers that we're allowing now compared to the normal time when people are filing for unemployment due to the state of disaster that we're currently in. So all claimants that file as a result of COVID-19 will be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits. This includes claimants filing due to caring for a family member, loss of child care or school closures, employer shutdown, need for employee to self-quarantine, and then employee contracts COVID-19 and is unable to work. This is a list of them. This is definitely not all the reasons why someone would need to file, but any time someone is not able to work or work is reduced as a result of COVID-19 or coronavirus, we are allowing unemployment for those circumstances. So your specific scenario might not be on this slide, or your employee's specific scenario might not be displayed here, but anything that's as a result of it, any sort of reduction in hours or reduction in business as a result of what's currently going on in our state, they will be eligible for unemployment insurance. So additional exceptions that we are making, the work search requirement is waived for these claimants. So anyone filing, they would not be required to search for work. And also, it's very important to make sure that an employee files their claim and notifies us that they're filing as a result of COVID-19. So if you can do your best in notifying them if you're staying in contact with people, and also before maybe you would be sending them home, that they need to select the option that says you are filing due to a temporary layoff as a result of COVID-19. So that will make sure all of these exceptions and waivers are put into place. If you have someone that has already filed and they don't believe that they set that up on their claim, please have them contact us. I will give you the phone number and contact information at the end of this presentation, and they need to contact us so we can make sure that their claim is filed appropriately. Also, if they are filing an unemployment insurance claim, you will be notified by mail, or if you're set up on our SIDES program where you would receive an electronic notice through email, you can respond to us and let us know that they are filing as a result of this. So you can select on there or check the box or write any information on there about them filing as a result of COVID-19. We'll make sure their claim is handled appropriately. So there's a few different ways in there that you can notify us to make sure that we are aware of the situation. So another waiver, we are waiving all employer benefit charges. So we're relieving charges of employers for any claims that are filed as a result of COVID-19. All claims filed will have the charges removed. If you do happen to receive charges for a COVID-19 claim, please contact us. The influx of claims that we're getting, some of that process is a manual process that we'll have to work through in the upcoming weeks. So if you happen to receive charges for that, just contact us and let us know. Again, we also might not know that that claim was filed as a result of COVID-19, because we certainly have people that are filing that may have nothing to do with that currently. So I mentioned talking about other resources that are available. We have a great section on our website where we have a tab along the top of our website that has the COVID-19 information. So I listed the full web address here, but it also has a screenshot of what the start of that page looks like. So if you go to our website, if you don't have a way to keep track of this entire web address, just go to iowaworkforcedevelopment.gov. And then if you look along the top, there are boxes there along the tab. You can see COVID-19 right here, and you would be able to access that information. So we will continue to update that information as new information comes available, or if there's any changes, we will continue to add there. So keep that information available. You can share it with your employees, share it with anybody, and we'll make sure you're kept up to date on what's going on. So we also have the employer handbook. We have an online employer handbook and the links there. If you go to our website, again, iowaworkforcedevelopment.gov, and you select the business tab up at the top, there's individual, business, and COVID-19. If you select the business tab, you will be able to access that employer handbook. So I just highlighted it right here if you're looking at this. So the business tab, and then you'll be able to select in the drop-down employer handbook, and then it's going to go over all sorts of different things. Employers covered under the law, unemployment insurance taxes, there's unemployment insurance benefits, all of those things, you will be able to access those. So that does wrap up the initial part of this presentation. I did include contact information for our customer service team. So our phone number is 866-239-0843. We also have our general unemployment insurance email inbox is listed here, uiclaimshelp@iwd.iowa.gov. You can send emails there, and we will be able to assist you with that. We also set up, since we were getting a lot of COVID-19 specific questions, we also do have another email inbox that you can send it to. It's going to the same people, but it's iwdcovid@iwd.iowa.gov. So you can certainly send your questions there. Again, but if you have employees that are not working, they need to file their claim online. The best way to do it is online. We have, like I mentioned, a really, really high influx of customer service calls, and it's going to be difficult to get everybody served quickly. So it's important that they send that online. So I'm going to jump over to a document that has questions that we received as a result of, actually I'll keep this slide up here. Okay, so I'm going to go over some questions that we received as a result of some of the stuff that's going on. So okay, so we've got a lot of the same questions so far, but I'm going to go over some of the common ones that we have received. Okay, so one of the questions we had, so will the need for work, to search for work be waived? Yes, so the work search requirement will be waived on all claims filed as a result of COVID-19. Another question, if an employee with no high-risk concerns chooses to self-isolate for safety concerns, but work is still available, will the employee be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits? So IWD is not making the determination of the choices of an employee's fear or of their choice to avoid contracting the COVID-19 virus. If they file a claim and have indicated that they need to be either self-quarantined or something along those lines, we will still allow them to file for unemployment insurance benefits. If you do feel that someone has filed and there's extenuating circumstances and you really feel that they shouldn't be eligible for unemployment, then you should contact us or respond to the notice that is sent out to you. So some additional questions. How will you verify someone is COVID-19 ill? IWD will be relying on the person filing for unemployment insurance to file the claim properly, dependent on their circumstances resulting from COVID-19. No additional investigation is planned at this time, but again, an employer can notify us if there is an issue. Do employees need to exhaust all paid leave with their employer first before applying? So I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but employees must use and exhaust all paid leave options that is available to them, that the employer is able to fund and pay out to any claimant or employee prior to filing for unemployment insurance benefits. Again, I mentioned unemployment insurance is not a replacement for paid leave, so it's important that that it's not used in that manner. Paid leave obviously provides employees for a full wage during time that they're not working. Unemployment insurance would not be the case with that. So we certainly want employers and claimants to be utilizing unemployment insurance appropriately for people that have no other option and have no other way of earning a wage or being paid a wage. Do employees need to adhere to the WARN Act? The WARN Act would only be required if the employee is permanently closing operations. Employer is permanently closing operations. So if you only plan to shut down temporarily, the WARN Act would not apply in that circumstance. How long would you have to be off before receiving benefit payments? So after filing an unemployment insurance claim and filing a weekly claim, the claimant would receive their payment within 7 to 10 business days of asking for that payment. So a weekly claim, when they file that, that's to notify us that they were actually wanting paid for that week. So after they file that, they will receive payment within 7 to 10 days. How are unemployment insurance payments handled for employees in the service industry that worked for tips? So the amount an employee is entitled to when filing for unemployment insurance is dependent on the amount of wages reported for the employee in the quarterly report sent to Iowa Workforce. So if tips were included in the wages sent in for the quarterly report, those wages would be included to increase the amount and claimant would be eligible. If we only plan to do a partial shutdown and layoff as part of the staff, are they eligible for unemployment benefits if some employees are still working? Yes, those that are not working can file and be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits. Anyone that's working part-time or partial hours needs to report the gross wages on their weekly claim each week when they file. There was a question about when can my employees file? A claim should be filed as soon as the employee is laid off or working reduced hours. It is important that they do not delay their filing. If they delayed their filing to wait a week, they would potentially not be eligible for that first week that they were off work. So it's important if someone starts, they're not working as of today, they need to file a claim on the same day that they stopped working. Another question, what is the minimum number of hours an employee must work to be eligible for unemployment insurance? Unemployment insurance is not based on the number of hours an employee worked. The amount is based on the wages an employee was paid. So it depends on how much they actually earn in wages, and then it's calculated from there. Will an employee who is at risk and wants to self-quarantine as a precaution be eligible for benefits? I mentioned this already. We won't be making the determination on whether or not someone's choices to self-quarantine or that they're at risk or have an underlying medical condition. We would still allow them for unemployment insurance benefits. The employer can certainly still respond to the notice of claim if they have an issue that they think Iowa Workforce Development should be aware of. A question about, I work as a salesman that's on salary. Do I qualify for UI? So it does depend. So if you are paid a salary and you continue to receive that salary, you are still employed and therefore not eligible for benefits. So if you're still receiving your same wage, you would obviously not be unemployed, so you wouldn't be eligible for benefits. But if your salary if it actually stops or you stop paying an employee a salary, they would be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits after they've used any paid leave. Do working high school students under the age of 18 qualify for benefits? So there is no minimum age for filing for unemployment insurance as long as they meet the minimum criteria for how much wages they earned. So there is not a minimum, so someone under 18 could file. Can business owners get benefits if their business closes? So you can file and be eligible for unemployment insurance benefits if you had been reporting your wages on your quarterly report to IWD with your tax account. Okay, I'll go over one last one here, and then we will be updating our Q&A on our website on the COVID-19 section as more questions come in. We are seeing that we are getting some similar questions, so we'll make sure all of those answers are up on the website, but again, we'll continue to add to those. So the last one, will any claim related to COVID-19 automatically have fact-finding waived? We will not be conducting fact-finding interviews for claims that have been filed as a result of COVID-19. So there may be circumstances where you have a fact-finding because of some other reason, if someone separated, they were discharged, or they had quit, or something like that. You might have a fact-finding for that, but any claims that are related to COVID-19 for a layoff or a partial layoff, then you would not have to have a fact-finding for that. So that summarizes and wraps up our call today. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of go over real quick the things that summarize the things that we talked about. So we talked about what unemployment insurance is, who's eligible, and for how much. Again, if you want to know the details, or your employee wants to know exactly how much they're eligible for, you're going to want to have them contact us. But if they are off work, they should just file their claim. Filing their claim is going to get everything moving. They'll get a notice in the mail on how much they're eligible for. Again, I mentioned there's a really long wait times on our phones. We're trying to process all the claims that are coming in and also assist customers. So again, if they're already off, they need to just file, and they'll be able to find that information out very shortly. And then we talked about the waivers and the exceptions because of COVID-19, charges for employers, and then also the resources available. So with that, I'll wrap up. If you guys do have questions, I gave you our contact information on our website, the phone number and the email address that you can contact. But so much of this information is going to be on our website. If you just take the time to look at that, look at all the Q&A, share that with your team, that's where you're going to be able to find out the information. But again, if you have anybody that's working reduced hours or not working at all, have them file their unemployment claim right away so we can get that process started. Thank you very much.